having defined the material, it's now time to obtain a part. Different options there. So all open is the geometry cell here, and if you right click on it, you see that the main options are either import geometry, and sometimes it's smart enough to see if you have got some CAD type file. This one is totally different, so it's not relevant here, but otherwise there are two embedded CAD software in ANSYS. So the first one is Space Claim. Space Claim is powerful, newish style, but I don't think it's adapted for what we want. I mean, it's very powerful, but it's historyless, and it would require a whole new set of training to get grabbed to it. DESIGNMODELLER is an older CAD package, and in many ways it's quite similar to SolidWorks. It's a lot clunkier, not as pretty, not as powerful, but it's powerful enough, and it has a very similar features to SolidWorks. So I'm going to show you this one. So don't double click, because if you double click, it will open Space Claim. So we need to bypass that and right click and click on DESIGNMODELLER. So it will then open the DESIGNMODELLER interface, which is really just a CAD software, really. Okay, so what it looks like, you can see the tree, very similar to SolidWorks, and otherwise different options. So I'm not going to go through all of these. We can recognize some things, I mean, extrude feature, but I will just make a shape, and you will learn to improve use of that interface along the different tutorials. First thing though is usually to choose the right unit. So this one is in meter really, and that's not going to help us, too big, so we are going to move it to millimeter. Okay, different. And next we want to sketch, because you know in order to make parts, you need to create sketches and apply features to these sketches and so on. So how do you do that? Well, you choose a plane, and you can generate planes, but here we're going to use some basic one, XY plane. Click on it, and automatically go into the sketching tab here, and that's it, you're going to sketch. I like sketching flat, so I choose that look at face, and that's it. And I can then create my shapes. So I'm going to make something relatively simple, and so in that sketching tab you have got drawing items, modify, dimensions, constraints, and we will look at all of these, only a subset of course. So I'm going to make some sort of bracket. Okay, so let's create the bracket. So I start with a line here. Okay, let's make it. Notice that if I am around the vertical, automatically DESIGNMODELLER will insert vertical constraints. I want that later, so I do that line as vertical. Next, I go on the dot there to be on the P. Okay, P. That means continue the point. I could be coincident with the line, even outside actually. Yeah. But I want to be coincident with the point. Otherwise, you don't have a closed path. You're into trouble. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to create that. Horizontal, coincident point. I don't dimension anything at the stage. That later. P. Horizontal. P. I want it to be at an angle. P. PH. Okay, so smart enough to realize that I wanted it to be vertical. Now, unfortunately, I made a small mistake here. I want that to be parallel to that line, but unfortunately there is a constraint there, so I need to remove it. So if you go in the detail of the sketch, it shows all the lines. You can approach them from there. Okay, they have a little name. I think you can change the name, but you rarely do that. Okay, so on line L7, I know that I put a comment by mistake. It doesn't show the constraint. Now SolidWorks is a lot nicer. You get these little squares that tell you the constraints and so on, but not here. So you need to show that. You just have to activate this drop-down list. Okay, and now the constraint. And that vertical line I don't want. I don't want line 7 to be vertical, so I click on vertical, right-click, and delete it. It's gone. Okay, so now I should be able to give it a constraint later. Now I'm going to put a dimension first. I'm going to put an angle between these two lines. Let's say I want an angle between that and that. And I want the angle to be, what is he doing like that? No, I don't like that one. Sometimes the order in which you click them, no, not that. Angle, thank you. Angle. Yep, okay, I want an angle of, wait a minute, it's something, I don't want that. I want to modify now, so it creates a value for a dimension, and you modify it in sketch at 120. That's fixed. I'm going to put a constraint to force parallelism between these two lines. Let's force it. Let's force it. So parallel, though you choose the constraint between that line and that line, I want them to be parallel. And automatically it creates that. Fantastic. And next I need to add some dimensions. More dimensions this time. So what do I want? I want general is good enough most of the time. That one. I want to know that one. That one and that one. And I think the rest will create them. Okay, so V4. V4 was way too small. 20. H5. You can change their name as well. But that's 20 has net 20 to 30. Okay, and finally H3 at 80. Okay, so I've created a profile. We can do a bit more than that. Let's draw a novel. Now I'm not going to dimension it because I'm in a bit of a rush. So you draw 2 lines and then expand your thing. Okay, fantastic. So that is done. I could dimension it to be clean. So this time I would need a vertical dimension between this point and this point. And I would want that V6 to be off. So 10. And so on and so on. I'm going to stop there. It will be obviously very good practice to dimension it properly. Okay, the sketch is done. So what next? Right, well, to exit sketching, you just go into the modeling tree. So the moment, what do I got? I've got a sketch. Where is my sketch? Aha! My sketch is hidden under the plane. So okay, I've got sketch number 1. I could rename it, but again, I'm not going to bother here. This is a quick and dirty job. Now what happens? Can I do any other sketches? Well, how can I, if I want another sketch in that plane, for instance, how does that happen? Well, you need to use that little button here, which creates a new sketch. I could do that, and it will create a new sketch, which I could work on. Okay, so say sketch 2, and go in sketching, and I would create a new sketch, independent from sketch 1. I don't want to do that, but it's useful to know that one. So I will delete that sketch 2. Yes, I do. Now, what do I do with sketch 1? Well, with sketch 1, you highlight it, and then you can do things with it. Now, the most obvious is to extrude it. Alternately, you can get that from the Create drop-down menu here. A lot of options. And you're familiar with these. Another one we'll use at a later stage is to create a surface from a sketch. So I can use that sketch, and that would create a surface model. And that's going to be very important later, because we'll see that later, but ANSYS works very well with surfaces, using shell models and this kind of thing. But at the stage, again, doing a dirty job, I'm going to extrude it. So you extrude it. Okay, let's create an extrude here. Notice that it has that little lightning symbol there in yellow. That means that it has not been done. And that's one of the many sources of frustration with Design Modeller, is that we have to click that generate thing many times. But let's have a quick look at the detail of that feature. Okay, it has a name, feature 1, extrude 1, sorry, whatever. Geometry, okay, apply. So usually you select something and apply it based on sketch number 1. And what is it doing with it? It's adding material. We'll talk about the difference between add frozen material at another stage. But at the moment, they're equivalent. Vector, normal, direction, whatever, the depths, let's make it relatively thin at 10 millimeter or 15 millimeter. Okay, done. Okay, exit, and it tells me, whoa, please generate your thing before you can do anything else. And yeah, it's always a good idea to have a look in your design tree and see what's going on. And if something is not ticked, well, act upon it, generate it, and that's it. Okay, this has been generated, and we have a bracket done here. Don't like it very much. I would like to put some fillets as well. Let's put a fillet here and here. Okay, we'll go back to sketch 1. Sketching. Look at it. Let's modify it. Modify it is fillet. So let's put 10 millimeter radius fillets. I'll use that. So you select on fillet mode. 1, 2, filleted. 1, 2, filleted. Now, fantastic. Yeah, it hasn't done it. No, why? The usual trick. I need to generate my extrude. Again, regenerate. It should do it by itself, it was smart, but it's an oldish software. Okay, great, it has been filleted. It looks all nice. Okay, so there is a lot more to DESIGNMODELLER than just that, but we are, at the moment, it's good enough. We'll look at it later. Ah, no, I keep forgetting something. No, something that is important is that I will want, so let's say that I will fix the part here, but I will want to apply a load only on a portion of that face. So I need to tell the software later that to give me something to buy, to select. So I'm going to select that face and then go to sketching. Then I go to look at it, and it knows that it's there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is do a rectangle, P. Okay, make sure that I've got the little c to tell me that I'm in consonant with it. Fine. Okay, I've got my rectangle. I will dimension it. Dimension it. General. H1. 20 mil. 25 mil. Okay, and this is where the load will actually apply. So, okay, so I've got a sketch. So that's great. What am I doing with a sketch? This is at the moment, it's just a sketch, okay? That's not enough. I need to do something with it. So I'm going to select the sketch. No, not the sketch. My apologies. The sketch. Where is the sketch? The sketch lives under sketch 1. Indeed. My apologies. It lives under sketch plane 4. So automatically, when we selected that face, DESIGNMODELLER has created a plane that that contains it. So sketch 3, I select it, and then I am going to do that, extrude it. I could, so at the moment, that's what it would look like, but if in the operations, I'm not going to add material, I am going to imprint the face. Imprint the face. I could cut material, but I don't want to do that. Or I could cut by an infinitesimal amount, but I'm just going to imprint it. That's much better, because if you cut a little bit, it's going to be a massive faff later if you have got something that is very, very, very small here in terms of actually meshing it later. So just imprint the face. I'm imprinting it. It looks fine. Yeah, cool. Extrude, need to generate it. And now here I have indeed sliced. Not sliced, just given created some new geometry, which will be helpful in the next stage to apply my load. So that's pretty much it for the simple parts. Next stage, well, import it into the actual mechanical modeler, the actual finite elements, and do all the meshing, apply the boundary conditions, solve, well, choose which properties we want to actually analyze, and obtain and solve it. Okay. Any queries, as usual, please use the forum. I also recommend that you try tutorial number 1 and follow the instruction for somewhat similar but a bit different bracket. Thank you very much.